Welcome in. It's a new edition of Soccer is in Session, presented by Kaiser Permanente here on the Soccer Down Here Network. My name's Jason Longshore, and let's get caught up on what's going on in the women's college soccer world in the state of Georgia. It's that time of year. This is when the women's teams play around the state. A number of teams at D1, D2, D3, NAIA, JUCO, all over the state. We're going to try to tell some stories from all of these programs throughout the season. Non-conference schedule is pretty much done for everybody. There's still a handful of non-conference games that will happen, but we're getting into the conference schedule, and this week we're going to dig into the D1 schools and also a couple of spotlight stories as well from some of the smaller schools. But let's start with the only ranked matchup in D1 in the state of Georgia. It's going to be in Athens on Thursday as number 23 Georgia hosts number 7 Alabama. The Crimson Tide beat Georgia 2-1 in Athens last year. The Dawgs come into this off of a 1-1 draw with number 9 Clemson on Sunday in Athens. Scoreless first half, redshirt freshman Summer Denigan put Georgia in front with her first career goal in the 50th minute. Clemson equalized 20 minutes later. They held on for the draw, but that result against a top 10 opponent puts Georgia into the top 25. Georgia faced a season-high 13 shots. They allowed a season-high 3 corners, but goalkeeper Jordan Brown nearly matched her season best with 5 saves. Georgia head coach Kadani McAlpine is nearing a historic achievement. He enters Thursday's match with 198 career victories, 2 away from the big 2-0-0. Graduate midfielder Mally McKenzie entered rarefied territory for a Bulldog in that Clemson match. She's eclipsed the 5,000-minute mark in her career. She's also moved into the program top 10 for match appearances with 81. Junior defender Jessie Dunn remains the Iron Woman of this roster this season. She played the full 90 in both of last week's matches. She's played the full 90 in 12 of Georgia's last 14 matches. Sophomore defender Kate Harden has also become known for that, tallying 90 minutes on 3 occasions this year. Georgia on Thursday of last week went down to Statesboro, beat Georgia Southern 1-0 in a very hard-fought match, the first time Georgia had been in Statesboro since 1995, their first year as a program. After the game against Alabama on Thursday, Georgia will stay in Athens and close out non-conference play against San Francisco on Sunday at 11 a.m. We talked about Georgia Southern. Let's go down to Statesboro. They will start Sunbelt action on Sunday, hosting Georgia State in a 4 p.m. contest at Eagle Field. Sade Heinrichs, the senior center back, tallied a first-half goal, and the Eagles went to Montana and won 1-0 last Sunday afternoon in their final non-conference match of the year. Heinrichs made a run from her center back spot in the 20th minute, laid off a pass to Simone Tim. The 1-2 went back to Heinrichs, uncorked the shot from almost 30 yards out, handcuffed the Montana goalkeeper, and got into the back of the net. That put Georgia Southern to 5-2 on the year. They knocked off the third regionally ranked team in the Grizzlies. They were 7th in the United Soccer Coaches West Region rankings. That's 3 teams that have been regionally ranked that Georgia Southern has defeated this season. It's the Panthers of Georgia State who are heading down to Statesboro for that Sun Belt opener. It's at 4 p.m. on Sunday. You can watch it on ESPN+. Georgia State bounced back from a scoreless draw with Kennesaw State last Thursday. They won 5-1 on the road at Alabama State on Sunday. 41 shots, 21 shots on goal. Alabama State only had 3 shots on the day. Panthers opened the scoring. Seika Ikezoe scored her first goal for Georgia State in the 28th minute. Paula Bosa had the assist. 49th minute, Elena Diaz scored her third goal of the season. Then Alabama State cut it to 2-1 in the 54th. Georgia State went to 3-1 up with a goal from Alondra Nieves. Elena Diaz with the assist. That was the 63rd minute. Olivia Shaw, second goal of the season, made it 4-1 in the 69th minute. Nieves had the assist there. And then 5-1, Brooke Hart scored her fourth goal of the year from the spot in the 85th minute. Georgia State improved to 4-1-3 overall, and it's Georgia State versus Georgia Southern on Sunday in the Sun Belt opener for both teams. Now, Georgia State had that scoreless draw last Thursday in Kennesaw. The Owls open a Sun Conference play tomorrow as they host North Alabama at Fifth Third Bank Stadium. Start time 7 p.m. You can watch it on ESPN+. Myself and Madison Cruz will be on the call for you there. Following that, Kennesaw State will head to the road. They will face Central Arkansas at 2 o'clock on Sunday in Conway, Arkansas. Last two home matches, KSU coming off back-to-back draws against Florida and Georgia State. 1-1 with the Gators, scoreless with the Panthers. Kennesaw State secured their first undefeated home non-conference season since 2018. This is excluding the spring season of 2021. Agata Gianni scored that tying goal against Florida. Fewer than 25 minutes left in the second half. That helped maintain KSU's unbeaten home record. And I think the statement that was made in coming back to get the result was huge. She was able to clean up after a cross into the box, found the rebound, put it home. That was the first goal Florida had given up all season long. Now, experience is a big part of this KSU roster as well. Cameron Simmons, Teresa Woke, both seniors are top 3 on the team in minutes played, non-goalkeeper, with both players only coming off of the field for a combined 55 minutes all season long. Jade Barquette, grad transfer from Central Florida, all of them played the full 90 against Florida. Barquette has started every match she's been available for, missed one due to a red card suspension. The other D1 program in the state of Georgia is Mercer, and they will play their third consecutive away game on Thursday night at Gardner-Webb, kickoff scheduled for 6 o'clock. Jada Mormon was named the SoCon Offensive Player of the Week for this last week. That was announced earlier this week. Mormon, the sophomore forward from Cincinnati, 2 goals last week, including the game-winning goal in the 3-1 win at Jacksonville on September 7th. 5th goal of the season was scored in Mercer's 2-2 draw at UNC Asheville. Jada Mormon has 5 goals on the year, tied for the most in the SoCon. That UNC Asheville game, 2-2, was the final. Very back-and-forth kind of game. Mercer had 2 leads. The UNC Asheville Bulldogs were able to equalize both times. Sydney Farr scored the opener off of an assist from Chandler Lewis-Jenkins. Free kick in the 26th minute. UNC Asheville leveled it in the 37th. Mercer went back into the lead. Lewis-Jenkins made a run down the left, put in a cross that Mormon was able to put home. That was her 5th goal of the year. The Bulldogs of UNCA found the equalizer again in the 60th minute. Even game, both teams with 15 shots. UNC Asheville put 7 on goal. Mercer put 5 on goal. Lewis-Jenkins with both assists in the match. Now, outside of D1, a couple of programs to keep an eye on. Let's start with North Georgia. The Nighthawks are nationally ranked, and they will continue their road trip heading to face North Greenville on Wednesday. That's tonight. North Greenville holds a record of 0-2. They lost to 11th-ranked Catawba 4-0 their last time out. Now, UNG, they won their 3rd game of the year. It was delayed due to weather. A 2-0 non-conference result over fellow Georgia school Young Harris. That was on the road. Nighthawks scored a goal in each half. Maysoon El Shami took advantage of a penalty in the box, put her penalty kick past the goalkeeper to give UNG the 1-0 lead in the 42nd minute. After the halftime break, Young Harris was able to hold North Georgia off for quite a while. 17 shots for the Nighthawks in the game. 68th minute, they had to wait even longer. The game went into a weather delay due to lightning in the area. North Georgia got right back to work immediately after the restart. 76th minute, Nikki Gomez took a pass from Grace McGill, scored her 2nd goal of the season. That made it 2-0, and that was all the Nighthawks needed. 3rd shutout in 4 games for this UNG defense. They are now 3-0-1 on the year, their best start since 2019. The other big story outside of the D1 schools actually involves a school that is moving to D1. It's the West Georgia Wolves. It was announced that West Georgia would move into the A-Sun. Now remember, KSU is moving to Conference USA. The conference alignment scenarios are still very much in play, and West Georgia is taking the advantage to move up to D1 across all of their sports programs, including women's soccer. John Nelson, you know him from the morning show on the SDH network. He had a chance to catch up with Jason Carmichael of West Georgia, their director of athletics, to talk about the move and talk about the move including the soccer side of things. Here's John's conversation with Jason Carmichael.
So let me ask you this, Jason. When it comes to the non-revenue sports, the sports that we normally associate with non-revenue, how does this relationship go? Because we've seen in some instances when folks transition to Division One, the conference is different from the landing spot from the larger sports. How is this integration happening with West Georgia? Is it all in that ASUN direction, or are you envisioning some of your teams heading to other places?
No, that's a great question, John. Well, one of the things, and this is to the broader question about making a move and what you look for when you transition conferences or when you transition divisions or you do both, is the college industry, the college athletics industry is really I've equated it to the teacup ride that we all see in our early amusement park trips. And all of us are spinning to some degree because of just the transition that's in place and really massive tidal wave of the change that feels like on the daily. And so for us, it's essential. If we're going to move, we wanted to go somewhere that the teacup was spinning a little bit slower. And so part of that philosophy is we wanted to get all of our teams, as many of our teams as we could, into the same conference. We didn't want to piecemeal it. We wanted to land in a new home. The Gulf South Conference has been a great home for West Georgia, University of West Georgia, and all the various iterations of names we had before that. We were Braves at one point in the league. We've been Wolves in that league. It's been our home for athletics. And so we didn't want to just kind of go in haphazard and split ourselves into different pieces, which also challenged us with the UAC model for football, if I'm just being completely honest. But we worked through that. And so outside of football, everybody else is going to live in really one league. It's going to be inside the ASUN. We're excited about that. It's a league that's very intentional about other sports beyond just the revenue sports, to use that term. And honestly, these are moves when you go up to Division One. One of the things that is often overlooked is that those non-revenue or Olympic sports are places that you can make some investments and get a really fairly quick yield in those places too. And you do that with some intentionality. So we're excited for that. We're excited to be under the ASUN umbrella. And for the most part, if we look at it, the geography, ASUN, and all of our other sports is going to be fabulous. It gets us into markets where we're recruiting student athletes already, and really all of those teams that we sponsor. It also gets us into markets where we're recruiting just our general population of students. And so we're excited to be able to put teams into play in all these spaces and to do it under the ASUN banner.
Thanks again to Jason Carmichael, the Director of Athletics at the University of West Georgia, and to our own John Nelson for giving us that insight on the Wolves' move to D1. Now, that's next year. This year, West Georgia is taking part in Gulf South Conference play. They are back in action on the field on Friday at Montevallo, opening their conference schedule, 6 p.m. Eastern Time kick. Last time out, it was a 1-1 draw between West Georgia and the Georgia College Bobcats on Tuesday night, final tune-up before that Gulf South opener on Friday. West Georgia is still looking for their first win of the season, 0-1-2. They got on the board for the first time as Judith Leon Juarez found the back of the net off of a rebound in the 37th minute. That put West Georgia into the lead at 1-0. West Georgia had all the control in the first half. 4 shots, they scored the goal. They didn't concede a shot in the opening 45. Georgia College, though, this is a team that came into the match 2-1. They came out much more aggressively in the second half. 9 shots in the second 45. The Bobcats broke through in the 55th minute, volleyed shot into the right side. That tied it up at 1-1, and that's how it would finish. West Georgia had an opportunity to win it in the 89th. Chiara Lape got a good look off, but the shot was wide. West Georgia with 8 shots in the second half. Georgia College with 9. 5 shots on target for West Georgia in the second half. Hannah Garrett made her collegiate debut in that second half, made 6 saves in goal. Haley Brinkman started the game in goal, didn't face any shots in the first 45. One other note from the smaller colleges around the state of Georgia, the Emory Eagles are nationally ranked in NCAA D3. They're getting ready for their University Athletic Association schedule to get rolling. They did suffer their first loss of the season recently, but Emory holds on to their ranking in the top 25. That's going to do it for the first edition of Soccer is in Session. The women's college edition. We'll have the men's college edition later this week. Georgia State has a home match on Saturday night. If you're looking for something to do after, I don't know, attending the Atlanta United Inter Miami match at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, that one starts a little bit after 5 o'clock. Georgia State starts a little bit after 7 o'clock in downtown over off of MLK at the GSU Soccer Complex. We'll preview that and what's going on the D1 side in men's action later this week on the SDH Network. Thanks for hanging out with me for another edition of Soccer is in Session, presented by Kaiser Permanente on the SDH Network. I'm Jason Longshore, and I will be talking to you tomorrow night on ESPN Plus alongside Madison Cruz for KSU and North Alabama. See y'all then.